Welcome to the Gun Show. Just kidding. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 429. Today is the very first day of February 2023. Thank you for joining us or checking out the replay after the fact. We like it all. So with that said, I got, as usual, a few announcements, but I want to say hi to the guys, say hello to everyone joining us today, and then we'll hop into it and get into the questions. So we'll do the regular kind of weather check-in. Chris, how's the weather in Austria?
Let me think about that, because yesterday it was super windy. Today it was really sunny and warm. I don't know, like, if I wouldn't know any better, I would say it's April, but it is what it is. It's still February. And I'm happy that it is just February, because the first months of the year flew by so fucking fast. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. This has been a blur in many ways, but yeah, I was just looking outside here. I'm in upstate New York. We got blue skies, but it's like a 25 degrees outside today, Fahrenheit. So pretty chilly, but it was nice. I was able to get out for a run before Hump Day Hangouts. The trails are nice and frozen. So yeah, can't complain. Well, let's see. Bradley, oh, there you go. He's switching over. How you doing, Bradley?
I'm good, man. Sorry, I was reading some of the pre-posted questions and I forgot that I wasn't engaging.
Just like, I swear Bradley's here somewhere. So, well, yeah, man, how you doing? How's things down in Virginia?
Good. Things are good. Busy as all hell as usual. So, can't complain.
Fair enough. Whoops, there we go. I was bringing up the page to take a look at the chat. Also wanted to say, I will double check and post the link in chat, but had a really good webinar last week with Allison Caffrey of Operations Agency. A lot of really good feedback about that. If you haven't checked it out, we recorded a custom intro to that, and we're going to be updating that shortly about why you should be checking it out. I'll give you a little insight into that now. All three of us are basically on the same page here about how vitally important SOPs and processes are, not only to make your life easier, but if you really do want to grow an agency, you want to grow any business, you need to have these. One, they allow you to grow, but then two, if you're thinking, hey, maybe down the road, I would like to sell this, I would like to bring partners in to take over, something like that. It's going to be immensely more attractive, if not enable you to actually do that if you have SOPs, if you have processes down. A lot of times that can hold things up if you don't have that until you get it done, which can be a huge pain in the butt down the road. So anyways, we all agree it's super awesome. It's super important. And Allison was on and talking. And not only that, she was helping people live with their processes. And in the video, the replay, you can check it out. She has an offer to help people out for free. If you want to take advantage of that, watch that. You can figure out how to do that. And then she's also got some really advanced stuff for people who maybe need her personal help with her agency. So anyways, I'll post the link about that. And let's see, guys, anything else that we need to talk about? I know there's a webinar coming up on Monday. Bradley, did you want to mention anything about Backlink Factory?
Yeah, we're having the guys on from the Ranking Factory. They're going to be demoing a tool called the Backlink Factory, which uses Google Sheets to create backlinks. I've not really used it myself. I'm familiar with the tool, but I've not really used it. But one of our mastermind members and colleagues that we highly respect, he's been to several of our live events and even as a guest speaker, is Brian Caddo, and he uses the hell out of it. So we're having the guys come on to talk about it with us. And I need to change channels in YouTube. I'm realizing I'm in a different channel. So they're coming on to talk about it. And once they come on and, kind of demo the tool and everything, I think it can be used for, again, I haven't used it much, but I'm going to be with Brian down at the SEO at the Beach event in about 3 weeks. And so I'll be finding out from Brian how to use that tool for, I wouldn't want to point it directly at money site stuff, just because that's not the way that I like to build links, but I can see using it as a supporting link building tool to push geo-relevance and things like that. So I'm going to find out from him, because he's a power user, on how best to utilize that kind of stuff. So come check it out, and that'll be on Monday, I believe.
Sweet. Let me grab some links. If you are checking us out on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe. That's the best way to stay up to date. You also get notifications, not of just amazing Hump Day Hangout content, but also when we chop up the videos and occasional other videos we put on there. If you want to get notified about Hump Day Hangouts, if you want to be notified, get summaries of the content we're putting out, any deals, things like that, head over to semanticmastery.com. hop on the email list, and we will get in touch with you that way. Chris, anything else we need to mention?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, let's hop into the questions.
Right on. Got a few, so let me get started. All right, I'm going to start.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just saying, I'm going to be in the background. I'm going to grab the link to the webinar with Allison. I just posted the sign up for the Monday's webinar with about Backlink Factory. So if anyone wants to get registered, that link is on the page now, and then I'll get the operations agency replay link shortly.
Sweet. All right. Well, we've got some pre-posted questions. I'm going to get through those first. The first one comes from Steve. He says, what is the best or preferably the cheapest way to get a client's backlink in ZoomInfo? What is ZoomInfo? I've heard of it. I'm sure I've seen it, but what the hell is it? So I don't have an answer for you because I don't even know what the fuck it is. Business to business database. Good question.
You can
Pricing.
just buy it on Legit, man.
Yeah, I don't have no idea. I'm looking at the site. I know you guys aren't seeing my screen, but yeah, I have no idea. Contact their support, find out. I really don't know how to get into there because I've never attempted it. So I know there's a process for getting in the clutch.co for marketing agencies. That's like a directory for marketing agencies. And Adam, if you're still listening, can you comment on that? Because I know you went through the kind of rigorous process to get on the clutch.
Yeah, sorry, what? Because I was just typing up some stuff for the webinar replay. What was the question?
The question was about how to, and the question was about how to get into ZoomInfo, which is a business to business database. And I said, I have no idea because I've never attempted that. But I know that there's a similar site for like a directory site for marketing agencies called clutch.co. And you went through kind of a rigorous process to get a profile set up on that, correct?
Yeah, that was, it's been good. It hasn't produced a ton of leads, but it's good if you're going to be targeting a more local area. For me, it's a little weird. Like I don't work in one specific area. I work nationwide with e-commerce businesses, but I did get leads and it's still generating some leads. So I think if you like anywhere, if you keep current on it and keep adding to it, they'll obviously direct some more traffic your way, but you can go in and look at the page. Like you could look marketing best SEO agency, Dallas, and Clutch will probably be in the top 2 or 3 or one of their affiliated sites because now they've got a ton. And going through it and setting it up, it doesn't take a ton of time, and getting reviews is a little bit more of a rigorous process than just, hey, give me a review and slap it on there. They either have to do a call or they can go through, and it's a multi-step process. What did they do for you? Blah, 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 answering several questions, but definitely worth it. If you're going to do that, what I would do is give your clients, whoever it is, a walkthrough, like pretend, record yourself going through, or maybe take some screenshots, just because it's a little bit lengthier than your typical review. So make it easy on them, so they know what to do, because obviously not everybody is comfortable doing that. But yeah, overall, I would say definitely worth it. And I know that some people who do some advertising on there and have done well to get themselves boosted in big locations like Miami, Dallas, stuff like that. So I think it's worth it. If nothing else, it's a one-time setup, but you do have to get reviews to get visibility. So basically that's what bumps you up. You can't just fill it out and leave it, or you probably won't ever be seen.
Yeah, but you may be able to game that.
Yep.
You may be able to get some of your colleagues to leave you reviews.
That would be an excellent tactic. I don't know who would take advantage of such a smart idea, but yeah, lots of ways to do it. But yeah, definitely reviews. It's reviews driven. You've got to get reviews on there. So yeah, I would just say if you're ready to do that, or you have previous clients or colleagues or friends who could do it, then go for it.
Yeah, and I know his question was about ZoomInfo, so I'm glad that I completely answered it with I answered it with
unrelated,
a different platform. So
yeah, but I mean, yeah, in lieu of that, yeah, Clutch is a good one. And yeah, if you aren't familiar with it, check it out. Just do a search, best whatever agency, and then city modifier, and it's probably the top 2. So, and
that's actually, we hired a company, or I hired a company to do outreach and appointment setting for semantic links, and now that same company is also doing stuff for us at Semantic Mastery and some of our other businesses, outreach and appointment setting. And he got his team uses Clutch to find, that's one of their primary sources for finding agencies to reach out to for my, for white label link building services to pitch my services or to at least get them on a sales call with me. So it's been very good. I've gotten several dozen clients out of Clutch from his effort targeting those that are listed on Clutch, if that makes sense. I don't do that side of it. He does it, but it's worked out really well. So
that's great. Yeah.
Right on. Okay, moving on. Next question. Paul Fussell, what's up, Paul? He says, Google doesn't let you add links into the GMB posts anymore. That's news to me. I'm pretty sure they do. Maybe not in the text area, but they have a CTA button. You can still add links there. I'll demonstrate it here in a minute if you'd like. So I guess the second part of that question, is there a workaround to add links back to the Gsite ID page or any other Google property from the GMB? Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I don't really post because I have VAs that do all that. So I haven't seen where they don't. Let's just freaking try it. I'll grab the screen here for a minute. Let me get a new Google Business Profile Manager real quick and I'll just select one of my agency, my old agency site, which is Big Bamboo Marketing. I'll go in there, stand by. Okay. I'll grab the screen and let's play with it for a minute. See, I'm pretty sure there's still CTA buttons. Maybe they stripped out the text links. That's the first I've heard of that, but we'll try it and see. So let's go to add update. Let's see. Let's find a photo. It doesn't really matter what it is. I'm just going to go find a tree service photo. Why not? Imagine that. I have a tree service photo I'm going to use.
Surprise.
Let's just go with that. It's probably too big. That's a big one. Let's go with something that's been good enough. We'll go that one. Tree service SEO. Get it here. That's the best post I've ever created. All right, so I'm going to do a learn more button. We're going to link to my Tree Care HQ. There's definitely the ability to add a link right there. So let's see if it will prevent us from being able to do that in the text. Get it here. Find out. Ah, that's interesting. Your update is being reviewed. That's the first I've ever seen that. So maybe that's where they kick it back and say rejected because you have a link in your post. Now, Paul, I believe you submitted a support request to Semantic Mastery support about your Google Business post being rejected because of phone numbers. I mean, for at least 2 years now, that's a known issue. You're not supposed to publish phone numbers in the post. If you want to have the phone number, you're supposed to use the call now button in the post. Like in other words, select the call now button, which then it's a tap to call button, if that makes sense. But for like 2 years, if you published name, address, and phone number, because years ago, that's what we taught, right? You'd put the NAP, name, address, and phone number into the post text. But then they started rejecting the post. And it's because they wanted to force you to use the call now button because Google can track that. That makes sense. So they, that was at least about 2 years ago, maybe even more, that's if you had phone numbers in the post, it would most of the time get rejected. So we just stopped doing it. If you want to do phone number, either use the call now button or you overlay the phone number on the image, right? That you're going to upload for the post image, and you can do that as well. So anyway, the CTA button looks like it exists, and that should still work. Perhaps they're going to reject my post because I put a link in it. I was just wondering if that would come through. Like, how soon does that come through? And I don't see it, so hasn't come through yet. So we'll see. I wonder if let's see if that. Hey, it looks like it posts. Let me grab the screen again. It looks like it posts. Right there. That's the shittiest post I've ever created. Tree service SEO, get it here. There's a link, and then there's the learn more button. So let's just see. Is this going to resolve in another browser? There it is. So not sure what you're talking about, Paul. Sorry if you got a post rejected. My guess is you might have had something else in there that they didn't like. Seems like links are still available and working. Moving on. All right. Peter Phelps says, do you think some site builders are better suited for rank and rent in terms of Google indexing the site and ranking the site? Yes, absolutely. And I've proven that multiple times. Like high level, whatever. High level websites suck in search. They just don't perform well at all in search. I wish they did because they're they're convenient, but they do not perform well in search. And I've proven that. I've covered that a lot in the live streaming stuff that I do in the mornings. I've shown that over and over again. I guess we have enough time. We don't have a lot of questions today, so let me just demonstrate that. You guys are still seeing my screen, right?
Sure seeing.
Okay. Let's just try this. Look at that. And that's now number one. And that one dropped. That's so interesting. It's so freaking interesting. Anyways, you guys are seeing my screen. So this is, I've talked about this a lot, but absolutely certain websites work, like types of sites, platforms, rank better than others. The WordPress has been the default for years, right? We all know that. And so I was hoping that I could use Go High Level or High Level websites for my own agency for tree service stuff, because they're easy, they're convenient. It's easy to deploy sites, clone them, all kinds of stuff, especially because I bought a particular site template and snapshot from a guy named, it was called GHL meets SEO. I don't know if you guys, we have a link for that, Adam. I don't know if you want to try to find it, but it's
yeah, what was the name again?
GHL meets SEO.
Gotcha.
This is it here. This is a high level snapshot that this guy, what's his name? Matt, I think, or whatever his name is. This guy created this GHL Matt. Yeah, it's Matt something or another. Anyway, it's a high level snapshot. I bought it probably a year ago now, and for like $700 or something like that. I don't know, $600 or $700. And he talks about in this that the site structure, the template, and it's really the structure that was important that he built, and that's this here. Okay, that's what it looks like. Really helps to push maps. Like, so it's a local site structure, and it, according to the sales page, which has been updated a couple of times since I bought it, he talked about how it really helps with maps. And so I bought it because I'm always looking for stuff like that, right? So, and I use High Level a lot. So I bought it and I started testing with it. Well, not to say anything bad about it, because I think the structure was brilliant. I think the structure of the site is brilliant. So, but there was, at least in the version that I bought it, like I said, it's been updated several times since then. But when I bought it, it was still in kind of I think it was version 2. So like the second release. And there was a lot to be desired. The structure was very good, but you had to go in and manually edit every single page. And it was just a nightmare. It was a lot of, it didn't really speed the process of building sites up at all, in my opinion. So I spent several weeks customizing the template with custom values. If you guys use High Level, you know that you can use custom values, which are like tokens or short codes. And so I ended up going through, and I literally spent like 3 weeks, dozens of hours. Seriously, it was that slow to do, but I coded or edited the site to where the entire site could be done in custom values. And I can demonstrate this very briefly, just so you guys can see it. Let me pause the screen for a minute. I just want you guys to see the back end of this, because I think it's brilliant, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I always do. Okay, so his site template was absolutely phenomenal, but the high level sites, first of all, don't perform. I'm going to get back to the original question, I promise. But let me go into this site so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Stand by, settings. Okay, here we go. So this is the back end of the site that I'm going to show you here, which is the one that's ranking now down at the bottom of this page. Right here, louisville.felling.pro. Okay, so this is a site built on High Level with that template that I went through and customized. But let me show you, everything about this entire site is built with custom values or short codes. Okay, like this entire site is literally can be built. The only thing that is what you'd have to edit other than just, you can, let me back up. You can collect all of the information and build this site externally, meaning all it is you go out and collect all the geographic data, or what I call georelevance data, which is copying and pasting into a sheet. I created a Google sheet that is custom values template. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Stand by. And we want to look at the custom values for high level right there. All right. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. So what I did was I created a Google sheet here that you can see there's different sheets here that all we do is like, and I've got a process that I developed for this as well. Okay. So you can train a VA to go out and collect all the georelevance data. Then all of the images that you're going to use on the site. These are the dimensions. So all the images can be hosted externally. I use Amazon S3 for that, right? So you can prepare all the images, upload them to an Amazon S3 bucket, and then you copy all the URLs, you paste them in here. Same thing with the custom values as far as all the business details, the main keywords, products and services, the page URLs, all of that can be done externally, right? The city, what I call the georelevance data. This is a matter of going through and collecting all of the data from Google Maps and Wikipedia and copying and pasting URLs. That's all it is. It's copying and pasting, names of cities and in URLs of images and URLs from Google Maps, Google Maps share URL. All of this stuff, again, even the SEO title, meta description, everything can be tokenized with custom values, right? So you populate this entire sheet, and then it's a matter of just copying and pasting into the custom values over here. And you can see this is what it looks like when it's fully filled out. Everything here, these are all short codes. And if you take a look at this site, let's go into the site builder and I'll show you. We'll go into the home page. You see how everything in this entire site is custom values, like except for the content, but even the images are custom values. If you scroll down, you'll see it's a custom value image URL. It's a token short code right there. Does that make sense? That short code, custom values, image, homepage, portrait. That's what HPP is. So I've got images, custom values, homepage, portrait, whatever. That's this one right there. So the URL for that image is actually in the short code or the custom values in high level, if that makes sense. So essentially this entire site, everything you see, guys, even these like all these hosted images, the titles, everything is in custom values, right? So it's a matter of, again, I thought the template was brilliant, but none of that existed. I went through and did this for weeks. It took me weeks to customize this site with all custom values. It was very, very painful, but I got it done. And I thought it was going to be beautiful, right? Like I thought, oh man, I'm going to really be able to scale my lead gen business up with these. And then I built it, deployed it, and it falls in and out of the index all the time. And it's because of all the code, the additional bloated code that is part of high level. Okay. So if we go take a look at this, let me just show you. I'm going to just grab the URL so we can see what's indexed. I believe there's total, it should be 11 or 12 pages indexed. Right now, there's only 6. And it seems like every time I ever check this, there's only 6. And the 6 pages that are indexed, it varies. Some will be indexed. And then next time I look, they're not indexed. So for whatever reason, and again, it's because if you take a look at the back end of this site, view the page source, it's just this massive amounts of code. It's really sloppy. That's why I think these sites don't perform well. So anyway, however, going back here to get back to your question, you can see that what I did, let me block that. What I did was because I wanted to teach this at our POFU live event, so our live event called POFU Live last year, I taught about this kind of process, which I'm doing basically for free on the live streams that I'm doing every morning on my Twitch channel. I'm going through the process of building out a rank and rent business based on some of the training that I shared with our POFU Live attendees. So this is a WordPress site that I built from this kind of a structure. So you can see it looks very similar. There's definitely some differences because this one's on WordPress. This one's on high level. This site, I've done no backlink. I've got one backlink built to this site. Louisville Felling Pro, I added Citation Vault to the homepage, which is 300 links, which I highly recommend never doing to your money site. This was a test. I don't recommend this, guys. So before somebody goes out and does a Citation Vault to their money site, oh, Bradley said to do. No, that's not what I said. So what I said is don't do that. I did that for this site as a test. But so there's 300 Citation Vault links pointing to this, and I did what's called the content mirroring method for this. So there has been some off-page SEO work done for Louisville Felling Pro, yet it's not fully indexed. And like I said, sometimes it goes in and out of the index. Often you can see right now, there should be 10 pages. In fact, if we go take a look at the exact same site structure, just built in WordPress, which by the way, in our mastermind, I have a template available for, it's built in Elementor in WordPress, and I tokenized everything as well in the WordPress site. And this performs better. And this has I only built one backlink to this site, one, period. And it does not have the content mirroring method applied to it. I'll describe what that is in just a moment as well. And this site is outperforming the Louisville Felling Pro site. This is a newer site. The Louisville Felling Pro site was an older site, meaning it was published earlier, right? So it means it's been around longer. And I did 300 backlinks, Citation Vault backlinks to the homepage of that Felling Pro site. And then I did the content mirroring method, which again is kind of an off-page. It's kind of a hybrid between on-page and off-page because it uses branded entity assets, but it's kind of a backlinking method, if that makes sense. So, and yet this site, the Grim Reaper Tree Services site, is actually outranking the Louisville Felling Pro site with less links, it doesn't have all the entity assets and the content mirroring and everything else out. So it just goes to show you that, and again, guys, I targeted the same keywords, the same locations, everything. So there's really no difference, right? And this site is performing much better. So let me just show you, if we just grab that and go do a site colon operator search on this, so you can see the indexing. 10 results. This site's younger. Does that make sense? So why I'm telling you that is because absolutely the different types of site structures, some sites will perform better than others. So part of what I'm doing in the live streaming stuff is I'm building out additional assets covering the same area in Louisville, the same areas, same locations, same cities and towns, etc., communities, census designated places, all of that. I've gone through very extensive process of extracting all the location information from Wikipedia and everything for this project. And I'm building other brands in the same area because I'm testing different types of site structures and different configurations, different URL structures, some location pages as inner pages, some as location pages on subdomains. I'm doing all of that free. It's fully available on my Twitch channel, guys. You guys can go check it out. And before everyone asks, well, what is your Twitch channel URL? Just go to Twitch and search Bradley Benner.
There's gonna be a comment on the video.
Oh my God, I get them all the time. Where do I see your Twitch stuff? Go to twitch.tv/Bradley Benner, or just go to Twitch and search Bradley Benner and you'll find it. But what I'm saying is I'm going through all of this to show you guys, my assumption is I'm going to take this Louisville Grim Reaper Tree Services site, this one here, and I've got a plugin called Simply Static that will take WordPress pages and turn them into HTML pages. So I want to duplicate this site kind of a structure into a HTML built site, like a site that's built in only HTML instead of WordPress. And I suspect, and again, it's just an assumption right now, I have to prove it out, which I'm going to be doing as part of what I'm doing on my streaming sessions. I suspect the HTML sites will outperform the WordPress sites. I don't know that that's going to be the case. I don't know that it's going to pan out that way, but that's what I suspect will happen. So we're going to test it and we're going to find out. So definitely some will outrank others. So for example, Web 2.0 branded networks, which we do for all of our clients. One of the sites that is ranking well right now is Strikingly. Like I use the same provider on Legit all the time for branded Web 2.0 networks. His name is SEO Raz on Legit, or Raz SEO, I think is his username or screen name or whatever on Legit. Anyway, I always buy branded networks from him, and one of the properties in there, I get 15 Web 2.0 network properties that are kind of interlinked and everything. And one of those is Strikingly, and that, for whatever reason, tends to rank well right now. So Strikingly is one of the types of Web 2s that will rank. fairly easily, right? So Weebly is another site that can rank. Some of the other ones I like to use are Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress, but that's just because they're kind of old, long-standing type of Web 2.0s. Anyway, last thing I want to share about this is what I was telling you guys about the geo-relevance data. So if you take a look, this is how we add relevance on these location pages, and this is all Google's own data. So like, for example, and I'm not going to get into this too much, guys, as to why this structure is so powerful, but just so you know, by the way, to get back to what I was saying about the GHL meets SEO thing, it does indeed help maps rank but it sucks for organic ranking because the sites on high level just fall in and out of the index. But when done properly, it can help the map to rank better, like in Google Maps, as well as it can actually expand, kind of like push the proximity or the coverage area of the map a little bit with this type of a structure. I've tested that out on several occasions with some clients. And in fact, what I've done is I've taken the GHL, so the high level website template, and installed it on subdomains of my client's main site. So deployed it on a subdomain via high level. So mapped a subdomain from their domain over to high level, and then deployed what I call a bolt-on silo from these this type of a structure. And I've seen it improve maps, but it sucks at organic. Well, why not build sites that improve both maps as well as rank well in organic? And that's why I switched to WordPress, and this one is performing better, if that makes sense. So again, going back over here and taking a look, it's ranked #1 for tree service Newburgh, but it ranks more than that. I mean, Newburgh's not a very competitive area, guys. I get that, but this is just an example to show what's interesting is, that one page ranks for pretty much all the keywords too, right? So we have tree removal. That's not even in the title, right? The reason why it's ranking for all these different keywords, though, is because of the way that the structure of this site is built. There is no silo structure on this site. This site is what I call a flat site, and it's every single page on this site links to every other page on the site. So there's no link sculpting or page rank sculpting on this site. It is literally every single page is a reciprocal to every other page. What do I mean by that? Well, if we take a look at the homepage, for example, we have 4 service pages. See that? Tree removal, tree trimming, land clearing, and stump grinding. We have 5 city pages: Louisville, Newburgh, Okolona, Shively, and Valley Station. From the home page, we have all 4 services listed here, right? So like if I click in the tree removal, it's going to take me to the tree removal page. Okay. Back on the home page again. If we scroll down, the 5 city pages are linked here. All right. Now let's go back into the tree removal page to show you. On a service page, so there's 4 services total, right? Tree removal, tree trimming, land clearing, stump grinding. So on the tree removal page, the other 3 services are listed and they're linked to. Okay. Then on any of the service pages, the 5 city pages are linked to. Okay. So if I go into the trees, let's go into the land clearing page now. Now you'll see the other 3 services. Land clearing's not in here now because we're on that page, but the other 3 services are linked to on this page. So you see every service page links to every other service page, as well as every location page. So let's go down to the location area. Let's click into the location page. The location page has all services linked to, and it has the other 4 services, because there's, 4 locations. There's a total of 5 location pages. The other 4 location pages are linked to down here. Then on each location page, which we're on now, this is what I call geo-relevance data. This is all data that is pulled directly from Google Maps, and or Wikipedia, but the links are all Google Maps links. So if you take a look at this, for example, I don't know if you can see it down here in this bottom left corner, but that's a Google Maps share URL for Newburgh. So if I click that and open that up, that goes to the Newburgh Google Map URL. Does that make sense? And in some cases, you'll see that the hosted image, these are all hosted images, guys. These are all Google's own photo URLs. I'll explain that, and I'll show that in a minute, but like Standiford or whatever the hell that's called. Again, this one doesn't have an image, but you can see that that was a Google Maps share URL. Let's go to this one. This one does have an image. So we're going to go here. You see that photo right there? That's the same photo that's right there, right? So all I did was I just did open image in new tab. That URL is a hosted or embedded photo on this site. Does that make sense? That's that image right there. In fact, if we were to go back and take a look at the custom values in high level,
We're going to go down to the image section. And it was Newburgh was what? City 2, I believe. Newburgh City 2. Let's go take a look at that. Yeah, so we're in the Newburgh page, which is City 2, and in Bashford Manor is that URL, right? So let's go take a look at that. So we're going to go to the Newburgh page, which would be City 2, and then that was neighborhood 3. So this is Hood 3, City 2, Hood 3, if that makes sense. That's the way that I created those short codes. So this would be City 2, Hood 3 image URL right there. Take a look at this, guys. If I copy that image URL right there from my short codes, go view this in the browser, what is it? It's that same image. See what I'm saying? So you guys can understand, like, that's why these pages perform so well, is because, and as I've started to demonstrate, and I'll complete that in a moment, this page is ranking for all the terms, right? And I started testing with the high level version of this site. I think it was way back in June of last year, maybe even before that. And then it was sometime around, I think, July-ish, towards the beginning of August, when I started building the WordPress version of it. Because I was trying to prepare that for our POFU Live event, which was at the end of September. And I had to hire a developer to help me with that, because I suck at building sites, and I hate building sites. I don't enjoy that at all. So I got some help on building the WordPress template. But anyways, let me just show you. If I look at tree trimming, for example, again, rank number 1, right? Let's look at some of the other, land clearing. And it's not in the title tag. But you understand that the reason why these sites are ranking, or these pages are ranking so well, is because we've got all of the different locations, the georelevance data, and all of the different services are all linked to from every page. So it's relevant. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but essentially you can see that I search that. So this one's a little bit lower. There it is there, below the video, but it's still on page 1. And then lastly, we'll look at stump grinding. Those are the 4 main services, right? There it is. You guys see that? So that's why I said, definitely, to get back to the question, I know that was a very long-winded answer, but we had time. So the point that I'm trying to make is definitely certain sites, platforms will rank better than others. WordPress outperforms high level, hands down. It's not even close. Okay. I suspect a well-coded HTML page will outrank WordPress too. We're going to find out. I'm going to find out for sure. In Louisville, I'm using that as kind of my testing ground. And I'm streaming all that shit live, 100% free on my Twitch channel. I'm doing that every day for at least an hour, but usually an hour and a half every day, from 6:30 a.m. to about 8 a.m. every day. I'm supposed to stop at 7:30, but I usually don't until 8. And so sometimes it's boring because I've got a lot of work to do. And sometimes I don't really talk. I just work with the freaking stream on, and that's fine. But if you guys want to, eventually we'll have some of that stuff condensed down into shorter form content. Will be available in shorter form content in our mastermind. But for now, you can get it for free on my Twitch channel. So anyway, that WordPress template is available in Mastermind as a clone file right now. And I've been editing a new one that I'm working on, another brand for that area that I'm testing with, called premierpruning.com. And anyways, I'm getting better at editing these sites because I'm customizing that template a little bit. Anyway, moving on. I know that was a long way to get back to that question, guys, but hopefully that was helpful. This is, and by the way, with the WordPress site, now with high level, unfortunately, you have to copy and paste. So a VA can actually go collect all this georelevance data and do all the copying and pasting into a sheet. And then you could have the VA go into a high level dashboard and actually copy and paste all the values over, right? Because I have a snapshot in high level that I just create. I just duplicate, and then it has all the custom values built. You just got to add you have to add the values, right? It's got all the tokens or short codes. You just need to add the values, which is all copy and paste. However, in the WordPress site, so let's go into that for a minute. My developer that I had help build this or develop this, I swear to God, no, I must have been the other one. Anyway, This is a shortcode plugin that he created specifically for that. And what's good about this version of it, instead of the high, well, many reasons that the WordPress version performs better than the high level, but with this one, I can actually upload shortcodes via CSV file. So I have another version of this that is built with shortcodes formatted specifically for the WordPress plugin. And then we populate the same kind of a sheet, it can be a Google sheet, with the WordPress custom values instead. And then you download each one of these sheets as a separate CSV file. So one sheet at a time. And then you upload that via upload shortcode there, and boom, site is built. Literally, it's the entire site. The only thing that needs to be in the WordPress site, unfortunately, the tokens or the shortcodes do not work in the SEO metadata. So you have to go in and manually edit all of those, but you can do that fairly quickly from the pages menu by just clicking on quick edit. You can edit the SEO titles, meta descriptions, etc. from there. And then if you want to edit the content of the, and again, here's the thing, guys, you can tokenize a lot of this content, right? Like you can put brand names and brand name tokens and stuff. Again, going back here, custom values, look right here at the top, we have brand, plus we have the business name. So where would that be appropriate? Well, for example, Grim Reaper Tree Services, that's a brand, but Grim Reaper Tree Services of Louisville, that's the business. Does that make sense? That way you can have a brand, but multiple locations, and then you can add location modifier to the location name if you want. It's entirely up to you. But what I'm saying is you can tokenize this kind of content here as well, like phone number, that's a token. So, or a shortcode, if that makes sense. So all of this stuff, you can create kind of a template, which is precisely why I did this, to build a template that then I could duplicate. And all it is swapping out these shortcodes, and boom, you've got a whole nother site built, target a whole nother area. And you can teach a VA to collect all this georelevance data, which again, I've got an SOP for that. Well, it's in Flowster, but it's really just training. It's not an SOP because I never went through and typed out all the written steps, but it's in video format, the training on how to do this. So anyway, hopefully you guys get what I was just saying. I've got a lot of work that I'm still doing on that. I'm excited to see where it takes me. And this month in February, I should actually complete the project. It's been took a lot longer than I expected, but I'm building out like all the supporting assets. I'm building out a PBN network specifically for Louisville that I'm going to be using to backlink to these different sites, so I can test, see what configurations perform best, all of that. So it's a lot of work, but hey, this business is a lot of work if you do it right. Peter Phelps. I think that was the one that I just answered actually. Is a site builder such as Weebly better for rank and rent compared to Divi themes? If you deploy the site on Weebly instead of a custom domain, yeah, it can rank because it benefits from the authority of the Weebly domain. However, I would still rather build a site in Elegant Themes and Divi or whatever, which is WordPress, just because, by the way, like I said, I hate building sites. I really do. I don't enjoy that. I get super frustrated building sites. I like SEO. I don't like building websites. So, my point is I don't even like building WordPress sites, but I'm familiar with it, right? I've been doing WordPress sites for 10 years or more, actually 14 years. So, but I don't enjoy it. So what I'm trying to say is if you're going to build a site on something like Weebly, you can do that. If you deploy it on the Weebly domain, you will benefit from that. I don't know about, I've not tested with trying to do a custom domain on a Weebly site to see if that ranks better or not. I have not tested that. Maybe I'll do that sometime this year on the Twitch stuff, but we'll see. I'm not going to commit to that. All right, next question is Bruce. He says, how do you go about standardizing link building and cost for your SEO agency where it's easy to track and scale, but also effective and flexible to adapt based on industry and the algo? Well, there's a great book by Dan Kennedy called in the No BS series. And by the way, I'm going to have a mastermind webinar tomorrow in our mastermind, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit if I can remember. In fact, let me make a note of it. Dan Kennedy. Hold on, guys. I got something I'm going to point out here. There's two books that I think everybody in our mastermind should read. Everybody should read them, but I'm going to put them on our recommended reading for the mastermind. Adam, are we still sending books out to new members? We used to.
No, we're not doing that anymore, but maybe that's something we can look at kicking back up again this year.
Dan Kennedy, No BS books. There's 2 books that every one of you should read. Let's see, that's no BS time management. And this one, these 2 right here. Starting with this one, No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs. I highly recommend you guys get this book and read it, or get the audiobook, whatever. Get it on Kindle if you want to be cheap. I don't care. Get the fucking book is what I'm trying to tell you. Read this because it will really open your eyes as to what your time is worth and how you are completely undervaluing your time and underestimating what the true cost of, like how much, what your productive hours are on a day, for example, and what your productive time is like, and what you would bill for your productive time if you were going to do it. So anyways, this is a fantastic book. It's, I would say, start with this one, and then you go to this one, which is, this really opened my eyes and changed how I manage my business. This is the No BS Ruthless Management of People and Profits. So again, I would recommend starting with the No BS Time Management book. And by the way, if you guys have never read any of Dan Kennedy's No BS books, they read easy. They're entertaining as well as informative. That's part of the reason I love Dan Kennedy's work, because it's easy to read. If you guys know, probably you've read business or marketing books, and they're a chore to get through, right? It's hard. They're not page turners. Dan Kennedy, the way he writes is very conversational, and it's easy. It's an easy read, right? It's kind of entertaining as well. So anyways, this is a great book, or excuse me, I would start with this one, the time management, so that you can really start to understand what your time is worth, number one. But then number 2, the No BS Ruthless Management of People and Profits really had an impact on me and my business, my link building business. In fact, right after reading that book, first of all, I figured out what my numbers were. Like, I have it down, and that's why I've talked about this before. I pay on a per task basis, or a per item basis, because I know exactly what my costs are for every link that we build. Depending on which kind of link it is, I know precisely what my costs are to build that link. So I know what I sell those links for too. So I know exactly what my margins are. Does that make sense? So I know what my profitability is on my link building business, period. Like, I've got it down really, really accurate now. And I've never done that in my business until now, not in the SEO business until I read this book, which probably 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago now. Something else I did was I promoted my longtime executive assistant, Hazel, to a project manager in my link building business. And she took so much, it took a couple of months to train her, but she took so much of my workload off of my shoulders because she became the project manager. She gets paid incredibly well. But she took a lot of work off my shoulders. But then I realized, and again, from reading this book, Dan Kennedy pointed out the fact that, you know, if you have one key person that your entire business operates like it's dependent upon their ability to show up and perform, what happens if they get sick? Or what happens if they, God forbid, died or something like that? What would happen to your business? When I read that, it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, oh man, he's absolutely right. If something happened to Hazel, I couldn't manage this business on my own anymore, because she is such a linchpin, you know, like such an important part of my business. And so right after reading that was in April actually of last year. So almost a year ago now. I remember specifically because I'd taken a weekend off to go ride ATVs and unplugged, like I do. I try to do at least a couple of times a year. And it was right after reading, or I was listening to this audiobook on the way to that kind of trip to take off for the weekend. And that's when it dawned on me. And so I literally sent a Slack because I was driving when I was listening to the audiobook. I punched up Slack, and you can send an audio message in Slack. And so I sent an audio message to Hazel, my project manager, and just said like, hey, listen, you know, you're doing a phenomenal job, but what happens if you get sick or you can't show up or you want to take off for a week? The business won't operate, or like I would struggle to do it all on my own. And I said, so we need to hire another project manager. And so we have another one of our workers called, her name is Samantha. She is phenomenal. And so I said, you know, think about who we could promote, or because Hazel also runs a staffing agency. I said, or we can hire somebody externally. You can bring somebody in, but we need another project manager, redundancy. We need redundancy, or else. So that way Hazel can take off if she wants, because now, and again, we ended up promoting Sam, which was one of our just virtual assistants, but now Sam is a second project manager. And the two of them are fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. And it gave me a lot of security and peace of mind in my agency, right? So to get back to the question, and again, guys, I'm sorry if I went off on a tangent, but I think this is really important, guys, to understand, like, you got to shift your mindset about what your time is worth and like how productive you truly are during the day. Because a lot of stuff that we do is not really productive. It's busy, but it's not producing, right? It's busy work, but it's not productive work. And so this is, I thought, was really good. And then this, like I said, taught me to, number one, figure out what the hell my numbers are, like as accurately as possible. And number two, build some redundancy into my business so that I don't, if something were to happen, that's not one person that is responsible for so much of the business. We have to have redundancy so that there can be some wiggle room. People can take off if they want, or if somebody gets sick, the business will still operate, right? So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to encourage you to read that. Yeah, so know your numbers. That's the important thing. Know your numbers. What are your costs? What do you pay? You got to factor in your time, the cost of the tools, subscriptions, and services that you use. You got the cost of your virtual assistants, which, again, I've talked about this multiple times, guys. If you can, start paying people on a per task basis, not an hourly basis. If you pay somebody hourly, they have no incentive to be more productive. In fact, don't they have incentive to be less productive if they're getting paid by the hour? So pay people by the per task completed, and it gives them incentive to be efficient, to become more productive. And again, I pay all of my virtual assistants incredibly well. They make more money working for me than they could working, many, many types of different jobs and even careers, because seriously, I pay on a per task basis and they can make a lot of money. That makes sense. Okay, Pete asked these questions, but he sent them in the support, I think. So I had copied the questions and pasted them in. So there's duplicate questions here, but they're from the same person. So I'm going to go through and answer these very briefly. We got 10 more minutes. Okay, it says, I'm still new to CTR and I'm learning the importance of brand searches. My question would be related to e-commerce and national sites. Can you speed up the sandbox for a new site using CTR traffic? I don't know. My assumption is yeah, but I've not ever specifically tested that. But my assumption is yes. But again, that is just an educated guess. I've not tested that myself. But the point that I'm trying to make is, like if a new business launches and they get a bunch of media coverage, like even if it's just a local business, but I mean, you're talking about national stuff too. But if a new business launches and it gets a lot of media coverage and there's a flood of natural, organic, like real traffic, not manipulated traffic, but real traffic, that can have like significant impact on a site's ability to rank. I've talked about this on Hump Day Hangouts many times before, but with my land flipping business, which I did as a side hustle for almost 2 years, from 2019 to 2021, I was flipping vacant land with a brand that I created called Alpha, like ALPHA Land Realty, Alpha Land Realty. And I set up a ClickFunnels page. It's just a landing page. I've still got that site, so we can actually go take a look at that. In fact, I just reactivated because I'm going to start buying land as my retirement plan. So I actually just reactivated this. But let's just show you. I'm just show you what I mean. Sell land fast. Virginia is what I'm going to say for now. I used to rank #1, but I was also actively looking for land. I'm not right now, but right there, Alpha Land Realty. Okay, this is just a ClickFunnels page. And if you guys have ever tried to rank ClickFunnels pages, you know that they typically don't rank well for the same reason that high-level websites don't rank very well. So this is a landing page, Alpha Land Realty. There's my pretty face. And you can see, guys, this is not a super it's just a freaking single landing page. It's not super optimized. You can't even super optimize ClickFunnels pages. And so anyways, why I bring this up is because when I launched this, it was in April of 2019 when I launched this page. And all I did was I set up a Google. I wasn't planning on ranking with SEO. Like, honestly, that wasn't my intention. My intention was just to create this page, and then I was going to drive traffic to this page via direct mail, use physical mail, which is how I got most of my leads. But I also set up a Google Ads campaign. And what was interesting was I did no SEO to this other than the basic on-page stuff that you can do on ClickFunnels, which was very limited at the time. I think now you can manipulate more elements of the page. But at the time you couldn't. It was very basic. And all I did was I started sending my first month of April, in April 2019, I sent 1,000 letters, about 250 letters out per week to landowners in Virginia. And in the letter, it stated, you know, hey, I want to buy your land. If you're interested in receiving a cash offer, go to, and I put the landing page URL there, or call, and it's an 800 number that goes to a call center that answers the call and takes, you know, asks the questions, basically the property information sheet, which you see here. I have an answering service that handles all of that. Reason I'm telling you that is because at the top of the letter, it had Alpha Land Realty logo, this logo right there at the top of the letter. And what, interestingly, within a month of me launching this page, really doing no SEO work to it, it ranked #1 for Sell Land Fast Virginia. Now, why is that? Well, because look at the title tag, Sell Land Fast, and now it says in Virginia and Tennessee, but at the time it just said Virginia. And then the brand name, which I always append the brand name at the end of the SEO title. I've been doing that my entire career, right? And so it was creating an association between that primary keyword, Sell Land Fast Virginia, and the brand. And so when people would get my letters in the mail, property owners that would get my letters, and a lot of them, instead of them going to the search bar or this bar and typing in the URL, because it was a physical letter, guys, not email, it was a physical letter. So I put the URL, go to Alpha Land Realty, alphaland.realty, or call this number. But a lot of them would just go to Google and search Alpha Land Realty, and then they would click through. And those click-through signals alone, like from direct mail, no backlinks, guys, nothing. It was not digital marketing. It was traditional marketing using direct mail. But and this was not intentional. It just happened by accident. People would go to Google and search the brand and then click through the site. That's a branded search and click. And because of that, just from real natural organic traffic alone, I ended up ranking #1 for Sell Land Fast Virginia, even though I did no SEO based on that. So that just goes to, guys, within a month, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It was like right at the end of the first month of sending out letters, I just went to Google and did a search for Sell Land Fast Virginia. I was just curious, and I was #1. I was going on, and I also had an ad, so my ad was #1. But then in the organic section, I was #1, and I was going, look at that. I'm in Culpeper, so it's showing here. But I thought I was like, holy shit, what's going on? So I started digging into it, and that's what I realized was that it was people were going from taking the brand name and going to Google and doing a search for it and then clicking through. So that back to the question was, can CTR help you to get out of the sandbox? That's the only, and that wasn't an intentional test. That just happened by accident, right? Like I just discovered that. And that's when I realized, and in fact, our POFU live event in 2019, I talked about that, how you can use direct mail as a way to augment or improve SEO. Seriously. So my assumption is yes, that CTR can overcome sandbox or probationary periods, and that's only from my own kind of my own experience with Alpha Land Realty. If that makes sense. Have you tested using CTR traffic to put your brand plus keyword or keyword plus brand into Google Suggest? Yes. If so, any tips you could share? You just have to be consistent with it over time. I've actually taught in our mastermind how to do that with Google Ads, and it can be done. And I've been able to get a brand name to appear in Google Suggest for a keyword search query in as little as 3 days. Sometimes I've had it take as long as 3 weeks using Google Ads, but I'm pretty sure you can do it with CTR manipulation too. I always did it with Google Ads traffic. I would buy traffic from Google Ads because it would, because it's known Google users, right? Real verified Google users. So that's why I did it, but I think you can do it with CTR. It probably takes a little bit longer and more consistent volume to do it. But with Google Ads, like I said, I've been able to do it in as little as 3 days. Sometimes it took as long as 3 weeks. Do you ever go straight after keywords? Go after straight keywords with CTR to the website, not Google Business Profile, or let Google do that with brand plus keyword strategy? I try to stick with mostly branded search stuff, guys. I will do a little bit of search and click traffic on keywords, but I typically won't do that until after I've consistently seeded the site with branded search and click traffic for a period of time. I can, about a month or so. And then I'll start to ramp up. It depends on that also where the project starts. When I start applying CTR signals, where is the project at that point when I start, right? If it's a strong brand that already has a lot of branded searches, then I might be able to go right into keyword search and click traffic or manipulation. But if it's a newer site that doesn't have strong branded traffic already, then I always start with that. And then I will start after building some branded traffic, then I will do some brand plus keyword and brand plus navigation modifiers like brand plus phone number, brand plus location. If it's a storefront business, those brand plus hours of operation, business hours, variations of those and things like that. And then I will eventually start adding just generic keyword search and clicks, but only after I've built up kind of some authority to the brand through branded search and clicks first. That makes sense. We're at the 5 o'clock mark, guys. I'm going to have to wrap it up. Sam says in Hump Day Hangout question a few months ago, you said that you like to build a non-traditional citations for lead gen properties. Can you tell me more about what those are? Yeah, they're just not business directory citations. They're name, address, and phone number, and a link back to the website most of the time, but published on other non-directory sites. So like you can use YouTube as a non-traditional citation, right? You put name, address, and phone number and a link in the YouTube description. Link back to your website. You can have a link to the Google Map, link to the Google Business website. That's a non-traditional citation or an unstructured citation, right? Social media properties. So social citations, image citations, video citations. You can have document citations like PDFs, things like that. Anytime you have a name, address, and phone number published online, that is a citation, even if it doesn't have a physical hyperlink, right? So name, address, and phone number, you can list a URL and it doesn't even have to be clickable, like hyperlinked. It can be just the mention of the URL. That's a citation. Does that make sense? So, all right. Sam says, and this is the last question, guys. I'll look at the comments in the comment box briefly, but I got to wrap it up. Sam says, what insights did you get from the index leak and how do you apply that to your SEO strategy? It's a good question. I'll let you know after I review it. And I say that with all sincerity because I haven't reviewed it yet. Somebody in our mastermind, I think, just posted the translated version in English. Either today or yesterday, they posted it in our mastermind. So I'll go through that at some point, but I just haven't had the time to do it yet. So once I go through it, maybe by next week, I'll have an opinion on it. I've seriously have not reviewed it at all. I'm aware of it, but I've not reviewed it. All right, got a couple questions in or comments, I think, and then I'm going to wrap it up, guys. All right.
Let's see. I don't
Nigel says,
questions,
I think let's restart with Nigel. He says, I really enjoy the Twitch thing, especially when you lose your shit with the tech. Yeah. I told you guys that. That's why part of the reason I like doing the live stream stuff is because it's real. You guys get to see that I struggle with all the same shit you all struggle with. And I cuss a lot and I get frustrated. I do. I get super mad and angry. And most of the time I want to punch my monitor. Nothing ever goes smooth, guys. This is not an easy business. It never goes as planned. So, and I think the streaming stuff is important. So he says, your face is on my monitor every day at lunchtime. Well, I'm sorry. You can watch Bradley with his fly and camera battles daily. Yeah. That's funny. Let's see. Paying per task requires that you charge appropriate to clients to be able to have them the margin to cover said costs. Yes, exactly. That's the whole point, guys. If you pay on a per task basis, you can determine what your margins are, right? You can get it down to like there might be plus or minus a little bit, right? There's always a fudge factor, but you should be able to know what your numbers are. That way you know what your margins are, and that's how you can scale too, right? So again, no BS, ruthless management of time of people and profits. That No BS book. Read it, get the audiobook, whatever. I would encourage you guys to do that. Any of you that want to have a real business, you need to know those numbers. And honestly, I just started knowing those numbers within the last year. So beautiful. This was fun. Thanks, guys. Thanks for sticking around, Adam. And